I piled useless trivia upon useless trivia, drew information from the TV and the TV alone. And soon nothing was real anymore, fading away into hollow space. Trains, cars, I love things that could take me places. I spread out maps on top of my narrow bed. Changed routes over and over and over. Sedans, coupes, convertibles, rode on so many different kinds of cars. The number one route continue on forever. I ran on that road forever and ever and ever. Indigo blue skies, beautiful coastlines. I ran until I came at last to these places sketched in my dreams. Slowly tracing past the arc of a cape, running on the white sand of a beach, the sun to my back. If I but closed my eyes, I could go anywhere. Toward landscapes I had never seen with my own eyes, longing for the soil upon which I could never hope to tread. The sky after the rain. The high flying clouds, streaming by at knife-edge speeds. The unique swishing sound of tire on wet asphalt. And through it all, there we were, driving along as always. No destination, just a desire to keep going, no matter what. It wasn't as if I was looking to go to Awaji Island at all. We didn't even have the gas money to get there anyway. But I drove straight ahead on unfamiliar roads even as I thought these thoughts. But where are we? I was forced to wonder. I didn't know my geography well to begin with, and I was seeing all sorts of place names I didn't recognize. I had planned on driving until the ends of the earth, but with the GPS navigation system broke, and I had no idea anymore. Before I knew it, I started looking around anxiously at the street signs as I drove. I don't know at all. Well, I don't know where we are right now. She said something to me, and I'd give her a casual response. Because she probably wasn't going to know if I asked her. Oh. What? You knew all this? Did you happen to live around here or something? It was a surprise. No, it wasn't just surprising, it was nothing short of a miracle that she knew the roads to this detail. Because no matter how I looked at it, she didn't seem to have driven around all that much herself. Then could it be... Do you know the way from here to Awaji Island? Well, see, we might be able to go there on normal highways while having to get on the tollways. And we might just have enough gas money to get us there. Well, no, that's not what I meant. With those words, she fell silent. And she turned to face the window with a frosty demeanor as ever. But she wasn't looking at the passing scenery, it felt like she was staring at something in unreachable distance. Her. Then don't ask me. Just what the hell was that supposed to mean? How would she have replied if I told her I was planning on going? We simply continued on, no purpose, no aim. It wasn't as if we had a plan or schedule for the get-go. We just didn't want to die on the 7th floor at our oh-so-fake homes. But I, and maybe I alone, must have wanted something to show us the way, no matter what that way might be. January 22nd, 2005. cold.
そうね。
Some beach whose name I did not know. We reached the sea before we known it. I've been planning on heading west, but somehow it looked like I ended up going south. A pitch black sky and a cold, windy waterfront. We both got out of the car and stared at the darkened sea. She stood apart from me as usual and stared into the distance, where the black sky and ocean melted into the horizon's edge. And after seemingly taking into the view of the ocean for a while, she slowly started walking towards the beach.
どうなると思う？
Now, I've got no idea what you're talking about.
楽に死ねると思う。このまま海に入っていくと。
Those were her words, as she slowly walked into the sands, her back turned to me. Third time was the end. There was no fourth time. The choice was between dying on the 7th floor and dying at home. Apparently no one had escaped this choice. Those were the words that she herself had spoken to me. And yet on her second time around, she told me she didn't want to die on the 7th floor or at home. This was after she explained the rules to me, after her duty to me was already over. That's why I felt that this is what she meant. I don't know. I've never drowned before.
じゃあもしも今私が海に入っていったならあなた止める？
She turned her head to look at me as she said this, with the moon rising into the dark heavens as her backdrop. And her gaze, which had always been so far away, was directed straight at me. I don't know. I'd have to see when the time came.
そうよね。
She then turned her back to me and slowly started walking towards the sea once more. Hey, tell me.
何？
Do you want to be stopped? Upon hearing my words, she stopped short of the waves. A strong wind kicked up a spray that beat against her feet. If you want to be stopped, then I'll stop you.
別にそんなんじゃないわよ。
Then it'll be fine if I don't stop you, right? There was no reply to my question. But her feet did not move any further either. So there was her answer then, in there. The high, high heavens of winter. Blue and clear almost to the point of morning. Strong north winds beating against the electric wires overhead. The silver coupe reflecting that blue sky on its shining frame. With me at its wheel and with her in the passenger seat as per usual. I didn't know where this was. But the real problem was that we were going to run out of gas soon. We didn't have that much money to begin with, and after various convenience store purchases we had even less. Only about 7,000 yen left. Of course, I had no idea how many liters this car took, but we probably had enough money to fill the tank once. We still didn't really have a destination or anything, but if we didn't end up filling, we could go anywhere anymore. I'm gonna fill up on gas. And with that, I turned the steering wheel and drove into a gas station that was coming into view. Welcome. Will you be paying by credit or cash? Cash, please. Regular or premium? Regular? Premium? I had no idea. Well, then again, I had no idea about anything in this car. And on top of that, it had been a long time since the driver's license classes. Which one would you like? Well, there I was at a loss for words, and there stood the gas station attendant waiting for me. Then, just as I was about to answer at random because I didn't know which one of us it was, she spoke from the passenger seat.
レギュラーよ。
Huh? Oh, okay, regular then. Okay then, regular, full tank, paying with cash? Yeah, that'll be all. Okay then, thank you very much. The attendant skillfully began his operation with the cheerful words. The strangely disagreeable smell of gasoline wafted in from the window that had opened roughly 10 centimeters. Hey, are you sure this thing takes regular? She said nothing at all to this and just pointed at the prices list. Oh, so that was it. It was cheaper this way. I didn't understand it very well, but I didn't think there was that much difference in price. And then I saw the gasoline meter and the number of liters being displayed. 25, 26, 27, 28. The numbers were going by at an incredible speed. Maybe I'd made a mistake. I began to get a little worried as I watched those numbers climb. I told him to fill the tank a while back, but I didn't have that much money on hand. Even with the coins, I'd only had about 7,000 yen, and of course I had no idea how many liters this tank took. What was I going to do if I didn't have enough money? Did some quick calculations and realized that after 60 liters I wouldn't have enough. 38, 39, 40, 41. The numbers kept climbing without slacking pace at all. And I became more and more worried over something I usually didn't give a second thought to. Damn, how many liters does this thing take? I let the words out before I knew it. Don't worry. Huh? This has a 50-liter tank. And just as she said, the gasoline meter stopped between 47 and 48. The sound of a receipt being printed out and then the attendant at my window again. Thank you for waiting. The total comes to 5240 yen. Oh, okay. Here. Took out a 5,000 yen note and crumpled 1,000 yen note from my pocket and handed them to the attendant. Alright then your change comes to 760 yen. Here's your receipt. Thank you for your business. I turned straight onto the road upon hearing the attendant's cheerful voice. The silver coupe now in motion once more. On the bright side, I was no longer worried about running out of gas. On the not so bright side, we only had about 2,000 yen left. This worried me, but there was something that preoccupied me much more. Hey, question. Could it be that you're an expert on cars too? What do you mean not really? You knew that this car took 50 liters of gas, didn't you? Of course, it may well be this kind of thing was absolutely common knowledge that I just didn't have. But she'd proven that she was an expert on these roads not so long ago. Having been caught by surprise twice now, I took out the vehicle specification from the glove compartment. And of course, you knew the make and model of this car as well, don't you? You can think of this as a quiz if you like, if you want. Correct. And the specs? I had no expectation that she'd actually answer. I almost involuntarily followed along on the vehicle spec sheet as she rattled off figures with total disinterest. No, it's alright, you're correct. I put the vehicle spec sheet back in its place. I couldn't believe my ears. She nailed every single specification. I didn't think she could just memorize these things, and I couldn't even venture a guess at why she had. But right before my eyes, she had gotten every single spec correct. And thinking back to the rose and flowers, I was getting the impression that she knew a lot about a lot. Hey, just why do you know so much about everything? And with that bare response, she went back to her usual silence. With her staring out the window again, I didn't find myself able to throw any more questions at her. Older. Really didn't look that way at all, but this was something she said before too. Her name was Satsumi. Her blood type was O. That was written on her white ID bracelet. There was very little indication to show me that she was older than me at all. Around when the sun started peeking out from under the clouds. The silver coupe speeding along. No destination, no place to go, just running forward. No more worries about gasoline, but no more money either. Only about 2,000 yen left. Only enough for 3 to 4 more days at most of convenience store food. Alright, so what do you want to do? I mean, we have no more money left. Look, her appearance is unchanging as ever. In this conversation we were having while eating rice balls bought at a convenience store not so long ago. Finally, the fact that even we were driving along like this, we were using up gasoline little by little. Maybe it might have been better just to stay still without doing anything at all. But it was impossible for me to stay still without doing anything, without shooting for anything. And I kept driving with those feelings at heart. If we just keep driving on normal highways, we'd run out of gas in about 3 days. Likewise, we only had enough for 3 to 4 days worth of food with 2,000 yen left we had. We were obviously going to become too poor to do anything soon enough. Hey, do you want to try going to this Awaji island? No reply. She just kept staring out the window as per usual. I think I might want to. Why? Well, it wasn't as if we escaped from the 7th floor with any goal or destination in mind. Because east or west, no matter where, anything was fine with me. But maybe that's why I wanted a goal and destination, because anything was fine with me. Around when the daylight had given out over the darkness of night, I had stopped the car in a parking lot of a pachinko parlor. Obviously, I wasn't planning on winning any money through pachinko or slots. I knew there wasn't much more I could do on just 2,000 yen alone. But if I were skillful enough, I might just be able to swipe 10,000 or 20,000 yen. That was my guess, based on many times I had been to pachinko parlors in the past. If I only had that much, we'd be okay in the first place, and we might be able to get to Awaji Island on that amount. And so I told her about the plan that I just thought up. How about it? Want to try it out?
Yeah.
Okay, very well. I expected it, but she shot me down immediately. I hadn't hoped she'd cooperate with me in the first place. And I told her about my plan as a fake accompli, not because I wanted her to aid in it. Alright then, wait here. I got out of the car and strode into the pachinko parlor alone. It was more crowded than I had thought. Lots of pachinko balls, lots of people, and more importantly, cash boxes crowded everywhere. As good a place as any. And thinking this, I headed over to the slots machine. I inspected them from the corridor for a while. And after finishing my survey, I focused on one set of machines. Lots of middle-aged salarymen, alright, up to 4 boxes at their feet and up to 2 racks above them. And an empty stand separating each of them. From what I'd seen before, these men hadn't come with acquaintances or friends. This satisfied the requirements. Perhaps in a place like this, no one would notice if I swiped one of those cash boxes. And in a store like this, each one probably held 20,000 yen or so. And with just that much, I just kept waiting for one of those salarymen to go to the bathroom. After a little while, about roughly 30 minutes had passed. Salaryman finally stood up from his seat. After I tailed him a bit to make sure he was going to the bathroom, I dashed back to the stand that he had occupied. And watching the people who were hitting the slots at the attendants, I slowly approached that stand. Then, so as not to raise any suspicion, as if it was the most natural thing in the world, I swiped one of the cash boxes underfoot. Clink, clink, clink. That moment, coins scattered everywhere with a thunderous noise. I'd been meaning to pick it up. No, I really picked it up with my very own hands. But they were unable to bear that weight, and the cash box crashed onto the floor. Everyone turned in my direction to see what the commotion was all about. I got the feeling that someone was shouting. I got the feeling that someone was running toward me. But that was all behind me. I had already bolted and was less than 2 meters away from the entrance of the establishment by then. Put the engine in ignition in a hurry and floored the pedal. And when I spun the wheel to make a hasty getaway, just then, I'd run against a curb or something as to make my getaway. Thus the horrible crunching sound. But I accelerated onto the road before me without getting a second thought. My sudden constricting out-of-breath chest and silver coupe, speeding out of the daylight and into darkness. I was concerned about the crash a little while ago, but I had to distance myself from that place now. And soon, after 10 minutes of this, a fair distance away from the pachinko parlor, I stopped at some roadside and started to get out to inspect the damage. Yeah, it doesn't look too serious. She sounded slightly worried as she called out to me. I answered her as I inspected the damage. There was just a bump in the rear fender and a small crack in the muffler. Didn't look as if there would be any problems driving like this. I let out a sigh, somewhat relieved. That sucked. I thought back at what had just happened at the pachinko parlor. I'd slipped up there, but I had been a little more skillful, I might have pulled it off. And the reason I wasn't able to hold on that cash box was because it had been a while since I lifted something heavy. If I held on to it with all my strength at the outset, I might have been able to make it.
勘違いしてるわね。
Huh?
今のあなたは以前のあなたとは違うはず。
She spoke to us as been she seen straight through me. But that kind of weight.
同じように考えない方がいい。
Perhaps she was right. I didn't want to admit how changed I was. Fair enough. I hadn't anticipated that I could grow this week. Then what should I do? No answer. Eyes turned into silence toward the window to stare into the dark night sky. This was probably the way she was telling me to give up. Alrighty guys, well that was chapter 3 map, and I like the story progression so far. I'm glad that we're trying to make our way to Awaji Island, and we are getting some money, and we were able to get some gas, and hopefully we can make our way there. But yeah, we'll have to see you in the next episode. But yeah, see you guys then. Thanks for watching, guys.